I'm Wenzel Jones.
And I'm Paula Thomas.
With NewsWrap, a summary of some of the news affecting LGBTQ communities around the world for the week ending May 1st, 2021. Marriage equality is going up for a public vote in Switzerland. Lawmakers approved a bill last year to open civil marriage to same-gender couples. However, under the country's unique direct democracy system, opponents may challenge legislation if they can gather at least 50,000 signatures within 100 days of passage. Switzerland has had less than equal civil unions for queer couples since 2004. According to most opinion polls, a sizable majority of Swiss voters favor full equality. That said, opponents have likely succeeded only in stoking homophobia during the upcoming political campaigns and delaying the inevitable. Some activists do see it as a chance to further increase acceptance of LGBT people in society, as campaigner Matthias Erhardt told The Local. A government spokesperson announced that the marriage equality vote probably would not be held until at least September.
In the Czech Republic, a marriage equality bill has advanced in the lower house of parliament. The measure amends the civil code to define marriage as a union of two persons instead of a man and a woman. Its first reading victory in the Chamber of Deputies on April 29th may be short-lived, however. Is an affirmative vote in the Senate possible? That's uncertain. A contradictory bill also passed its first reading in the lower house. It would amend the country's constitution to define civil marriage as the union of one man and one woman, period. The 4-hour debate on both bills got fairly heated at times, but just 93 members of the 200-member Chamber of Deputies were there for the action. Attempts to dismiss each measure outright also failed. Same-gender couples have been able to enter into registered partnerships in the Czech Republic since 2006. Those partnerships offer far fewer rights compared to married heterosexual couples. The competing bills now each advance to the Constitutional, Legal, and Social Committees, according to local media. The committees have been given 80 days to review them, rather than the standard 60 days. That also raises doubts about the chances marriage equality legislation has of passing both houses of parliament before general elections in early October.
Madam Speaker, Madam Vice President, no president has ever said those words from this podium, and it's about time.
Those were the historic first words uttered by U.S. President Joe Biden in his first address to a joint session of Congress on April 28th. Biden celebrated the accomplishments of his first 99 days in office. Then he laid out in bold strokes many of his administration's initiatives on a wide range of social and economic issues. That included urging lawmakers to pass legislation that would add sexual orientation and gender identity to federal anti-discrimination laws. He also sent a strong message of support to young transgender people.
I also hope Congress will get to my desk the Equality Act to protect LGBTQ Americans. For all transgender Americans watching at home, especially young people, you're so brave. I want you to know your president has your back.
The House of Representatives passed the Equality Act almost 2 years ago, but it stalled in a Republican-controlled Senate. Democrats now have the narrowest of margins there, but to overcome that chamber's antiquated filibuster rules, they would need the support of 10 Republicans, which seems highly unlikely. Veteran out-Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin told the Washington Blade that she's involved in efforts to secure 50 votes to end the Senate filibuster or at least limit its use. That would allow a simple majority to pass most legislation like the Equality Act, just as the House has done.
The U.S. Supreme Court will not hear a lawsuit filed by the state of Texas against the state of California. It challenged the Golden State's 2016 law prohibiting non-essential taxpayer-funded travel by state officials or employees to states that allow discrimination against LGBTQ people. Texas, of course, is one of those. The court voted 7-2 to refuse the case, the two being conservative justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas. 19 other states filed briefs in support of Texas, including West Virginia, Kansas, and Tennessee. Rabidly anti-queer Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton claimed that California's action violated interstate commerce laws. As its custom, the court did not explain its decision to reject the case.
Connecticut's interscholastic athletic conference policy of allowing trans students to compete alongside their cis counterparts has survived a court challenge. A U.S. federal judge dismissed a lawsuit filed last year by some parents. The plaintiffs claimed that the policy gave two title-winning trans girls an unfair advantage in competition with girls. But Connecticut District Judge Robert Chitigny decided this week that the issue was moot because those two trans athletes have graduated. He said that since the plaintiffs could not name other trans athletes creating concern, further consideration of the issue would simply be speculative.
The Republican governors of Alabama and West Virginia are the latest to sign bills banning trans competitors in school sports. Similar laws are being passed by Republican-controlled legislatures across the country, almost hand in hand with their voter suppression bills. Ironically, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey also signed a measure this week to remove language in sex education curricula that describes homosexuality as illegal and unacceptable. That's to her credit, albeit a few decades late. West Virginia's even more ironically named governor, Jim Justice, had already announced that he would proudly sign his state's bill. When pressed by a cable news reporter, however, he was unable to cite one example of a trans athlete that his law would protect against. Alabama and West Virginia join Arkansas, Mississippi, South Dakota, and Tennessee, states that have already banned transgender students from competing in sports. And then there's Florida. There's no reason to believe that Republican Governor Ron DeSantis won't sign his state's trans ban. Opponents thought that the bill had died in the Senate, but it was revived this week after some of the most obnoxious parts were removed, such as requiring genetic testing and genital examinations for competitors. Democratic State Senator Vic Torres pleaded with his colleagues to reject the bill.
I ask you, please kill this. We don't need this. We thought it was dead. Because you know what? In life, you don't know what's going to develop in your own family. And then you're going to realize the hardships, the consequences that families go through. Like my daughter and my son-in-law have gone through for my granddaughter. And we love her so dearly. I ask you, all of you, stand with me. Kill this bill.
But his words fell on deaf ears.
Finally, the rash of U.S. anti-trans bills may actually become a jobs program for the ACLU and other progressive groups and litigators. A federal district court has already put Idaho's anti-trans in sports bill on hold pending further litigation. A license to discriminate bill, signed this week by Montana's Republican Governor Greg Gianforte, is also almost certain to face a court challenge. The Montana Religious Freedom Restoration Act allows businesses and individuals to cite religious belief in rejecting LGBTQ customers or clients. It bans state officials from interfering with a person's exercise of their religious beliefs. Virtually every U.S. state law restricting queer rights has been challenged in court, or they will be.
That's NewsWrap, global queer news with attitude, for the week ending May 1st, 2021. Follow the news in your area and around the world. An informed community is a strong community.
NewsWrap is recording remotely during the COVID-19 emergency. It's written by Greg Gordon, edited by Lucia Chappelle, produced by Brian DeShazer, and brought to you by you.
Help keep us in ears around the world at thiswayout.org, where you can also read the text of this newscast and much more.
And you can read the transcript and listen to NewsWrap each week by subscribing to our This Way Out radio channel on YouTube. For This Way Out, I'm Wenzel Jones. Stay healthy.
And I'm Paula Thomas. Stay safe.